Hey guys, it's Erin. Thanks for coming back and viewing my YouTube channel again. I am so happy to have you guys back. I am looking forward to announcing our giveaway winner in next Friday's video. I believe that will make it, hold on, calendar life. The 27th of September is when I'm planning on announcing our winner. So as of now, you have 1 week left until the giveaway closes. So make sure you check out video number 1 if you didn't before, and listen for the keyword, and then DM it to me on Instagram, and you'll enter in a chance to win a full-size Bake Crate box. So make sure you check out that. For this video, have kind of toyed around with a couple of different ideas, and I'm trying to keep it pretty standard and easy for the first couple of videos so you guys get to know me a little bit better, get to know my reading style a little bit better, kind of get to know what I like and what I don't like reading wise. I read a large, vast amount of books. I read some true crime, I read some thrillers, I read a lot of fantasy, I read a lot of YA, read a lot of romance, and I do tend to read a little bit of contemporary, but not as much as the others. So you get a little bit of everything when you're here with me. So one of the best ways to get to know a person is to kind of see their stacks and see what they've been buying and see what they've been purchasing. Now, if you guys know me from Instagram, you obviously know my husband, Ryan. He buys me what we're calling Bay Mail every week that he's out of town. And so this video does not fall on one of those weeks, unfortunately. And I did say in my last video that I was planning on doing all of my unboxing on camera. That slipped my mind last night, and I opened my unplugged book box. And as soon as I did it, and as soon as I put it on my story, I was like, well, that's unfortunate. So I did already open my book box for this week. I'm getting 2 more book boxes, I believe, sometime in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to try and save those for next week's video, which I am hopefully going to be a little bit more prepared for. But it's me, so anything can happen. But we are going to start with the books I bought for myself this week. I am a huge couponer. I always look for a good sale. One of my favorite things about Barnes & Noble is I have 2 types of discounts with them. I have a educator's account, which is 20% off all of my purchases all of the time. And then I have my Barnes & Noble membership as well. And that's 10% off all the time. Now with the membership, I get kick-ass coupons out the wazoo normally. I haven't gotten a lot of coupons lately because they did Bookhau, and they're now doing educator appreciation. Holy cow. I don't know why that was so hard to say. But they're doing educator appreciation, and that actually just ended, so I'm sure I'm going to be getting coupons here in the next few weeks. But I am also trying to taper down on my spending because I went a little overboard getting props and some books that I really wanted. September and October and November are going to be super heavy book release months. And so I am mentally preparing for the stocks. Mind you, my birthday is also in October, so I don't know what that's going to look like either. I know I've told Ryan to tell people that I want books, but I always get nervous when I ask people to buy me books because they tend to buy things that I've either already read or have zero interest in. So it's always interesting when people give me books, and I try and always be appreciative no matter what. But sometimes, like, you can just look at something and know that you have next to zero interest in it, which is horrible. I'm always happy with when people give me gifts. It's always the best feeling. I'm happy to receive them, and I always try and read them regardless, even if it's one that I really just don't have any interest in. But without further ado, I think we're going to jump into all of the book buys of this week, and I believe last week as well. I know that Barnes & Noble has sent me a couple of things, and so what's sad is the 3 things I'm going to show you right now are not even the entirety of what I bought book-wise this week for myself, but I have been doing a lot of showcasing on Instagram as well. So I don't think I need to go back over the other ones that I bought because I did show them on Instagram, and I'm sure you'll see quite a few of them in the next few months. So let's start with this guy. So this one showed up today, and again, I don't know why they do this. They send me coupons for a wine voucher, Switch with Geico, Away, which is like luggage, I think, and then Harry's. Now Ryan might actually use the razor blade. He has a beard, and he does like to keep his beard well maintained. So he may or may not use it, but I'm not really concerned with this. They also send a lot of HelloFresh, which we did a box food service for a while, and I really enjoyed it, but Ryan wasn't a huge fan. So we kind of go back and forth on whether we'll do that again. Who knows? All in all, the coupons are kind of, you know, if they work for you, they work for you. If they don't, they don't. But the first book that I did order in this past week was the 10,000 Doors of January. I think that this cover is probably going to be one of my favorite covers for 2019 because I'm sure that I'll have to do a tattoo tour at some point because I do have a skeleton key on my ankle, and the meaning behind that is obviously a skeleton key can open any door. So I like to think that I am my own skeleton key and I can open any door and make anything happen no matter what, for myself, for my goals. So I automatically am drawn to this cover because, as you can see, there's little skeleton keys all over it. I mean, there's just so much happening cover-wise on this book, and it's just stunning. So the synopsis on the inside of the book says, when one enters a door, one must be brave enough to see the other side. In a sprawling mansion filled with particular treasures, January's scullery is curiosity herself. As a ward of the wealthy Mr. Locke, she feels a little different from the artifacts that decorate the halls, carefully maintained, largely ignored, and utterly out of place. Then she finds a strange book, a book that carries the scent of other worlds and tells a tale of secret doors, of love, adventure, and danger. Each page turned reveals impossible truths about the world, and January discovers a story increasingly entwined with her own. So, obviously that's the blurb. This is the spine. Again, another gorgeous skeleton key. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. This is also a book of the month read for September, and I'm really excited about it. It sounds like a great story. It has a beautiful cover. I'm sure you guys will see this showcased in quite a few photos for this month and all of the months after. So there's book number 1. Now book number 2, one of them is from Barnes & Noble, and the other is one that I bought from Target because it was on sale. Because I live at Target, if you don't already know. And if you don't live at Target and can't understand my fascination with it, lucky you, because Target is like a trigger button for me. Ryan tries to avoid going to Target with me at all costs because something that's supposed to start out as like, I just need 2 things, ends up being, we're going to spend half an hour in here and look at a million different kinds of clothes. So, I have made it very clear that I am not a huge fan of Stephen King's It. I am mostly terrified of clowns. There's a very long backstory to why I'm terrified of clowns, involving a cousin of mine and being trapped in a closet forced to watch It when I was younger. So I picked up Stephen King's It because it was on sale, and Ryan is obsessed with It. Now, I don't know if he actually can insert a photo here of our first Halloween together, and if you don't already know, my birthday is the day before Halloween, so the very first year we were together, we had a Halloween birthday party, and he was a monstrosity of a clown. He did a really good job, but it was super spooky. But if he can insert a photo, it'll be right here. So I picked up Stephen King's It. Mainly because I do want him to feel like he has a place in the library. I picked it up because I'm hoping that maybe I can find the courage to read it. Because I haven't read a lot of Stephen King, and I feel like that's a shame because he is just such an icon in the book world. And I don't know. Maybe I have. I think I've read 1408, which is a movie that was made. It was made into a movie with Brandon Fraser, but I believe it was in a book of short stories. Maybe, I don't know. I'll have to Google that. But I know that I did read 1408 because I was obsessed with the movie when it came out for some reason, and I do like spooky. I really do like, but I like more like ghost spooky. Like, I am obsessed with Skeleton Key. I love voodoo. I want to go to New Orleans just so I can meet a voodoo person, voodoo priestess, voodoo priest, whoever. I want to see it. I want to get a little doll thingy and torment someone. Apologies if you are that someone that is someday tormented. But I like spooky. Realistic, this is not, but for some reason it's just terrifying for me. Which is also something to be said because I love true crime, even though that terrifies me. So, yeah. Second purchase of this month for myself is It by Stephen King. So hopefully I get through this monstrous book at some point or another. And maybe Ryan will feel super content because he is represented in the library as well. So book number 3 was also released this week. Book number 3 was also released this week. I don't know if you can hear me over a bag. Ryan bought me this really impressive microphone, and I feel like it catches everything, and I talk super loud. So, book number 3 is Frankly in Love by David Yoon. This cover is insane. I mean, let's see if I can get a nice little frame there. And I really don't think this lighting is doing it justice, but yellow is my all-time favorite color, and check out these pages. There we go. I'm going to get this Vanna White thing down yet. But I love the blue spray pages. And what's even weirder is it's a Barnes & Noble copy that has sprayed edges, which I never see, ever. I guess I felt like I didn't need to read the blurb on it because everyone really knows it. But the blurb for Frankly in Love is, falling in love is the easy part. Frank Lee has 2 names. There's Frank Lee, his American name, and there's Shunmin Lee, his Korean name. No one uses his Korean name, not even his parents, and Frank barely speaks any Korean. He was born and raised in South California. Even so, his parents expect him to end up with a nice Korean girl, which is a problem since Frank is finally dating the girl of his dreams, Britt Means. Britt, who is smart and nerdy just like him, Britt, who makes him laugh like no one else does, and Britt, who is white. As Frank falls in love for the very first time, he's forced to confront the fact that while his parents sacrificed everything to raise him in the land of opportunity, their traditional expectations don't leave a lot of room for him to be a regular American teen. Desperate to be with Britt without his parents finding out, Frank turns to his family friend, Joy Song, who is a similar mind. Together, they come up with a plan to help each other and keep their parents off their backs. Frank thinks he's found the solution to all his problems, but when life throws him a curveball, he's left wondering whether he will even really knew anything about love or himself at all. In this moving novel, debut author David Yoon takes on the question of who am I with a result that is humorous, heartfelt, and ultimately unforgettable. But not only is the cover stunning, but look at this blue. Look at that. And I have to show you the inside artwork. It's stellar all the way around. Absolutely gorgeous. And I will say this before I read it, because I've heard it's wonderful. I am not super into teen romance books. I was when I was a teen, obviously, but I am quite a few years past teendom. And so it really makes it hard for me to read a teen-based romance. But I've recently read a couple. I read The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test, which are both based on Korean characters, and The Bride Test especially. And I really found that I liked that kind of theme of, you know, not breaking a parent's expectation, but having to deal with that. And so I'm very interested to read this one. I will say that it's not my norm, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And that's one of the best things about me, is I'm willing to try anything once. I feel like those words are going to come back to bite me at some point or another. But Frankly in Love by David Yoon, book number 3. Now, this is where things get a little crazy, because I did order. Now, funny story, these were meant to be paid for, picked up in store. And for those of you who are Barnes & Noble shoppers, supposedly Barnes & Noble will price match anything that's online. So if it is listed as $13.49 online, they should match it in store. Now, also, if your Barnes & Noble is worth its salt, they should also still be able to put, if you're a member discount or if you're a teacher discount. Supposedly, and I will touch base on this real quick because it's a funny story. I used to be not friends with the manager at our Barnes & Noble, but she was very much aware of who I was and how often I was in there buying books. Now, I don't know if she's still there or what happened. I haven't seen her in a while. But the new manager now knows me as a pain-in-the-butt customer, because I made a stink about the fact that this girl had promised me that Barnes & Noble would match their prices, because she made a stink about me putting in an online order, which makes no sense because that's an option. But she's like, it's not really cheaper because it will price match anything in store. And so when I went up to the counter to check out, she goes, okay, so your total is blur to blur. And I'm like, it should be much lower than that, because I should also have my 25% teacher's discount, because they were doing teacher appreciation. And she goes, well, I don't think I can layer them. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is, even though you said you will price match or your online prices, you cannot actually use my discount, which would make it inevitably cheaper for me. And she goes, well, if you're worried about it, I can call my manager. And I'm like, yes, I would like to speak to him very much. And so I did, and he corrected it for me after saying that they normally don't do that. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. And so we went round about it. But he was very nice. He ended up obviously doing what he's supposed to do for his job. So, more coupons that I just don't know. Okay, so there are quite a few books in here, but number 1 pulled out is Harley Quinn, Breaking Glass. This is a graphic novel, and I'm very excited. Harley Quinn is one of my favorite DC characters, and I totally OTP her and the Joker, even though it's a very sick relationship and both of the people are very sick in and of themselves. But Harley Quinn, Breaking Glass. The back says, outspoken, rebellious, and eccentric 15-year-old Harlan Quinzel has $5 to her name when she's sent to live in Gotham City. Harlan has battled a lot of hard situations as a kid, but her fortune turns when Gotham's finest drag queen, Mama, takes her in. And at first it seems like Harlan has finally found a true place to grow to her most true, with new best friend Ivy at Gotham High. But when Harley's fortune takes another turn, when Mama's drag cabaret becomes the next victim of a wave of gentrification taking over the neighborhood. Now Harlan is mad, and turning her anger into action, she is faced with 2 choices. Join Ivy, who's campaigning to make the neighborhood a better place to live, or join the Joker, who plans to take down Gotham one corruption corporation at a time. So, obviously it has Ivy, who I also really love. I OTP the Joker and Harley Quinn. I think a lot of people do. But I hardcore OTP Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. I think that they would make a better couple. So, yeah, that's book number 1. I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to dig in because I was obsessed with Raven from the Teen Titans graphic novel last month. So I saw this and I immediately picked it up. So Emily Lloyd Jones has a new book coming out. It's The Bone Houses, and I actually have it coming in a box to me, and I'm super, super excited about it. But I realized that I hadn't looked at a lot of her other work. So The Hearts We Sold, there's the cover. Super pretty. And the back says, losing your heart is easy. Getting it back is another story. Dee Moreno is out of options. Her home life sucks, to put it mildly, and she's about to get booted from her boarding school for lack of funds. But this is a world where demons exist, and demons are there to make deals. One human body part in exchange for one wish to come true. The demon who Dee approaches doesn't trade in the usual arms and legs, however. He is only interested in her heart, and his deal comes with other strings attached. Dee is just the latest addition to a group of damaged misfits, all pledged to the demon's service. It's a nightmare far bigger and far more monstrous than anything she has ever imagined. Reality is turned on its head, and Dee has only her fellow Heartless, including the charming but seductive James Lancer, to keep her grounded. But something like love grows between Dee and James. She begins to wonder, can she give her heart when she no longer has it? So, I thought it sounded fascinating, and weirdly enough, it's another teen romance. So maybe I'm going through a teen romance spurt. I don't know. But the next book is The Queen's Rising by Rebecca Ross. This cover is magnificent. I am obsessed. So the back blurb, which I'll just show you because is also magnificent, but I'll read it to you. I walked mindfully, my dress swallowing the last of my childhood as it whispered over the grass. I had to prepare for years for this one night. I thought and breathed in the fragrance of summer. Where had time gone? There was no answer as I welcomed the solstice. I believe, without reading the entire blurb out loud to you, I believe the story is about hold on. When her 17th, I'm going to read the blurb because I want to make sure I do this justice. When her 17th summer solstice arrives, Brianna desires only 2 things: to master her passion and to be chosen by a patron. Growing up in the southern kingdom of Valinia at a renowned Magnalia house should have prepared her. While some are born with a talent for one of the 5 passions, art, music, dramatics, wit, and knowledge, Brianna struggled to find hers until she chose knowledge. However, despite all her preparations, Brianna's greatest fear comes true. She is left without a patron. Months later, her life takes an unexpected turn when a disgraced lord offers her patronage. Suspicious of his intent, she reluctantly accepts, and there is much more to his story, for there is a dangerous plot to overthrow the king of Mavana, the rival kingdom of Valinia, and restore the rightful queen and her magic to the northern throne. And others are involved, with some closer to Brianna than she realizes. With war brewing, Brianna must choose which side she will remain loyal to, passion or blood, because a queen is destined to rise and lead the battle to reclaim the crown. Who will be that queen? And weirdly enough, I have never heard of this series, but it's another super pretty, like, gray-blue cover. But I'm super shocked I haven't heard of this series before I saw it in Barnes & Noble. Because this just screams... It has a lot of Red Queen vibes to it. So I think if you're a Red Queen, you would really like this. I think I will. The next one is The Bone Charmer. Fate is predictable, choice is not. But it's another super pretty cover. I'm super excited just to take pictures of some of these. Tomorrow, my future will be decided by my dead grain's finger bones. It's how my whole life has been determined, with bones, blood, and snapping flames. Blurb on the back. On the day of Saskia's kenning, a special bone reading that determines the apprenticeships of all 17-year-olds, her worst fear comes true. She receives an assignment to train as a bone charmer, a seer like her mother. Saskia knows her mother saw multiple paths for her, yet chose the one she knew Sakia wouldn't want. Their argument leads to a fracture in one of the bones, with the devastating result of splintering Sakia's future. Now she will live only two potential paths simultaneously, one where she is forced to confront her magic, and one where she tries to run from it. When both paths become entangled in some sort of plot of a rogue charmer, Sakia learns no future is safe, and some choices are unimaginable consequences. Only one future can survive, and Sakia's life is in danger in both. So again, I genuinely can't believe that I haven't seen anybody with this on their page, because it sounds phenomenal. Nice gold. Actually, I think that's more of a rose gold. Spine with red. And it's kind of more of a maroon than red. But it's stellar too. I've been kind of shocked. We've had so many good debuts come out lately. We've had so many strong sequels come out recently, that when I see stuff like this and I'm like, why haven't I seen this? It's always kind of a shock. All right. This is a very popular one right now. The Girl the Sea Gave Back. It has a very nice texture to the front. I'm going to read the back because this one's actually a long back, so I think that it will tell me more than some of the other short backs. The stones never lied to me, not to me. My eyes drifted over them again, and the pace of my heart quickening. What do you see? Duran's voice was heavy when he finally spoke, and I stared at him, the weight of the silence pushing down on me in the hot room until it was hard to draw breath. It's all right, Tova, he said gently. What lies in the future of Selv? My eyes cut to the chieftain, who stared into the fire, his eyes as hollow as the night. His daughter died, and I reached out, the tip of my trembling finger landing on the halagaz before I answered, in the future, there is no Sieve. Now, this is a companion novel to Sky in the Deep, which means that it is not a book that you have to read after reading Sky in the Deep. A lot of the characters are the same, but it's not like a series. It says, Tova was a child when she discovered washed ashore by a half-burned boat by the Sieve clan. The sacred symbols and stalves inked over each of her skin marked not only her as a member of the Kar, but a truth tongue. The Sieve believe her cursed, forsaken by her own people. The Tova's ability to cast runestones and interpret the web of fate woven by the spinners make her valuable, until the day she foresees the Sieve's destruction, compelling them to wage war. Across the valley, the rival Aska and Riki clans have lived peacefully for more than 10 years as a new people, not here. But when the Sieve's raiders attack, the village inhabitants are slaughtered, and Halvard believes there may be a way to avoid war. Chosen to be Nahid's next chieftain, he convinces his elders to negotiate with the Sieve before blood is spilled. His hope is for a truce that's shattered when the Nahid were deceived by their enemy and bushed without mercy. But there's more to Tova's prophecy than bloodshed, and as long as Halvard lives, his people have a future. And if what Tova sees in the runes is true, her own path is interwoven with his. Now she must find the courage to free herself from the only family she has ever known to fulfill her own fate. So, 1, the stones don't lie. Love this cover. We'll be taking a picture of the naked cover. Girl the Sieve Gave Back. Stunning. This story sounds really great, but I will say I am not good at getting characters' names correct or getting places that are made up correct. So, if you've read this and I butchered those names, I apologize. So, The Girl the Sea Gave Back. I'm super excited about this. I've heard so many great things from so many of my favorite people. It's going to be a strong one, I'm sure. We have 3 left. So this one was a new release. You know what? I'll just leave new releases until the end. The Crown of Coral and Pearl is another one that I was super excited about, that a lot of my friends have picked up and read or had arcs for, and I was super jealous of them. The top blurb says, for generations, the princes of Valyria have married the most beautiful maidens from the ocean village of Verinia. I think there's a Valeria, and I'm probably saying that wrong. But there was another V1 in one of these books. I think it was The Queen's Rising. Anyway. But though every girl longs to be chosen to be as the next princess, the cost of becoming royalty is higher than any of them could ever imagine. So, obviously, I'm going to guess I know that there are 2 sisters, and one of them is chosen. We have another rose gold spine with such a pretty blue. It says, not one, nor once dreamed of seeing a wondrous wealth and beauty of Valyria, the kingdom that ruled her village for as long as anyone can remember. When her childhood accident left her with a permanent scar, it became clear that her identical twin sister, Zadie, would likely be chosen to marry the crown prince, while Nor remained behind, unable to ever set her foot on land. When Zadie is gravely injured and Nor is sent to Illyria in her place, to Nor's dismay, her future husband, Prince Siren, is as forbidding and cold as her new home. A castle carved into a mountain and devoid of sunlight. And as she grows closer to Siren's brother, the charming Prince Talon, Nor uncovers startling truths about failing royal bloodline and murdered queen in a plot to destroy the home that she was once eager to leave. In order to save her new people, Nor must learn to negotiate the treacherous protocols of a court where lies reign and obsession rules. But discovering her own formidable strength may be the one move that cost her everything: the crown, Verinia, and Zadie. So, Crown of Coral and Pearl. I'm super excited about this. And a couple of my friends have really hyped it. So, I'm hoping it lives up to that. 2 left. Old School Hunted. Megan Spooner. Haven't read it. Haven't picked it up. A couple of my friends have. Beauty knows the beast's forest in her bones and in her blood. She knows the forest holds secrets that her father is the only hunter who's ever come close to discovering. But Yiva's grown up, far beyond her father's old lodge, raised to be part of the city's highest caste of aristocrats. Still, she's never forgotten the feel of a bow in her hand and has spent a lifetime longing for the freedom of the hunt. When her father loses his fortune and moves Yiva and her sisters back to the outskirts of town, Yiva is secretly relieved. Out in the wilderness, there's no pressure to make idle chatter with vapid baronesses or to submit to marrying a wealthy gentleman. But Yiva's father's misfortune may have cost him his mind, and when he goes missing in the woods, Yiva sets her sights on one prey, the creature he's been obsessively tracking just before his appearance. Deaf to her sister's protests, Yiva hunts the strange beast back to his own territory, a cursed valley, a ruined castle, and a world of creatures that Yiva's heard about only in fairy tales. A world can bring her ruin or salvation. Who will survive, the beauty or the beast? I'm super into retellings, and this sounds insane. So I'm super excited about it. We've got Silver Spine and Green Naked. Super pretty. Another one that I've seen a couple of places, but not a lot. But I'm excited about it. We've got 1 left, and then I'm going to tell you which one are the new releases and which ones you should be able to pick up for cheap on like Amazon or wherever. But my last one is Loki. He is a Marvel character, and I am genuinely obsessed with him. Before the days of going toe-to-toe with the Avengers, a younger Loki is desperate to prove himself. Heroic and capable, while it seems everyone around him suspects him of inevitably villainy and depravity, except for Amora, Asgard's resident sorceress in training, feels like a kindred spirit, someone who values magic and knowledge, who might even see the best in him. But when Loki and Amora cause the destruction of one of Asgard's most prized possessions, Amora is banished to Earth. where her powers will slowly and excruciatingly fade to nothing. Without the only person who's ever looked at his magic as a gift instead of a threat, Loki slips further into anguish and the shadows of his universally adored brother Thor. When Asgard's magic is detected in relation to a string of mysterious murders on Earth, Odin sends Loki to investigate. As he descends upon 19th century London, Loki embarks on a journey that leads him to more than just a murder suspect, putting him on the path to discover the source of his power and who he's meant to be. Now, Loki is one of my favorite Avengers characters, and so I'm very excited to see what Mackenzie Lee does with his character. I'm getting really into like adaptations and retellings lately. So, Loki was released early this month. Frankly in Love was released this week, actually. The Girl the Sea Gave Back was released earlier this month as well. I believe The Crown of Coral and Pearl also came out this month. I would double check that one because I'm not 100% sure. But I believe this one was also released in September. If not September, it was definitely late August. And last but not least, The 10,000 Doors of January came out this month as well. So, obviously, I have a lot of good reads to get done. My pile is forever growing, and I don't know where I'm going to get all the time to read these. But hopefully, it's soon. Because I think that every single one of these books has a lot to offer in the way of keeping me entertained and keeping me sane as I potty train Jaxie and Mia. Yay! So, thank you all for coming back. I hope to see you again next week. I, in my brain, have an idea of what I want next week to look like. We'll see. At this point, all I can kind of do is hope that it's going to be good. So, these pages take me places, and I can't wait to see where they take us next. So, thank you all for watching, and make sure to watch my first video if you haven't already. And again, enter my giveaway. I can't wait to let someone know that they won this Bay Crate box. So, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!